ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So we are at verse 30 of chapter 3, and I had mentioned last time that this is a very, very important verse. And this is almost like the gist of the entire Karma Yoga. He's opened it up more. We have learned a lot about Karma Yoga. This gives a very good dimension of how to execute Karma Yoga. Gives you another tool, another way to do it. Okay? So just to remind what we did before. So Krishna Bhagavan, the previous verse, Krishna Bhagavan had said to Arjun that the wise person should guide the ignorant person, without creating confusion in their mind and creating, any kind of doubts and all that. They should continue to do their karma yoga and engage in action, and then slowly turn their mind around. And we want to see that what did Krishna Bhagavan mean? What exactly, how to do the action? So we kind of already learned what the ignorant person is. Ignorant person is the one who thinks that actions are performed, by him. But he doesn't know that the actions are performed by Prakriti. Remember, we learned that whole thing about Prakriti and Purush, or consciousness and nature. So the wise person, or the person self-realized, he knows that all the actions are done in Prakriti. And he's just a witness. Whereas the ignorant person thinks that he's doing. The karta bhav is there. So that's the difference. How should a person act now? The ignorant person. So this is what this verse is going to talk about, that how one should act. I'm going to chant the verse. Everybody, whoever has Bhagavad Gita has verse 30 open. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशी निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगत ज्वरः. So now I want to just remind one thing over here, that Bhagavad Gita is also another Shastra, Smriti and Shruti. So certain things are like subtle language. And we cannot go 100% by its word meaning, because it will take you in a totally wrong tangent. So be very careful about that. And that's why we need, saints and sages to explain to us what these words mean. Because if you take the word just at its face value, you will see that it sounds, sometimes it almost sounds ridiculous. So just keep that in mind, that the word is there, but in what context he's talking about, that's the most important thing in all these shastras and all that. Same thing is going to happen in Kathopanishad also. So that is a Upanishadic style, that it is a very coded language. They want to say minimum, and they want you to understand, and that's why you have to be like do a little bit of preparation before you get into it. And all of you do different kind of sadhanas anyway, so I don't need to get into that. So here are the Sanskrit words. Mai is in me. So here also, when he says me, we are going to learn as we go through this verse that he's not talking about Krishna, the body. Krishna, a person who took avatar. Mai over here is talking about from that self or consciousness perspective. So that's very, very important to know when you say Mai. Sarvani is all. Karmani is all the karmas. So the entire spectrum of karma. Sannyasa, renouncing. Adhyatma chetasa, with the mind centered on the self. This is one of the absolutely loaded words over here. So this is the word we want to learn. Adhyatma chetasa. चेतना बोलते हैं ना, हमारे हृदय में चेतना, बट आध्यात्मिक चेतना होनी चाहिए. सो बेसिकली उसका डीप मीनिंग हम लोग वी विल लर्न, बट यू नो माइंड सेंटर्ड ऑन गॉड बेसिकली. What exactly it will mean to us, we will see as we go further. And then here is nirashi, free from hope. Okay, so एक है अपने यहाँ पर आशा जी हैं, right? Nirashi is opposite of asha. You know, so he's telling you to be without hope. So I know it sounds very kind of crazy. How can you not have hope? But the context is different over here, and I will explain. Nirmama is free from egoism. So mama means me and mine, me जो बोलते हैं ना सारा time. Nirmama is opposite of that. When you don't have the ego. So free from egoism. Bhutva is having become. Yuddhasva, fight. He's telling Arjun, go fight. Now, over here, if he's telling Arjun to go fight, he's not telling us to fight, huh? Because Arjun's job was to fight. That's why he's telling him to fight. So when we take it for ourselves, we have to say, whatever our duties are, go do that. So that's the right context we should know. Vigata jwaraha, free from fever. Now, he's not talking about the fever that you get with COVID. Not that kind of fever. Even though it is like fever he's talking about. So it's going to be like, here fever means excitement. Over excitement, you know. So that's why we need to have the right context of the words. But, so let's go back to certain concepts now. That the ignorant persons versus the wise person. So the ignorant person doesn't know that the Atma is the witness only. Okay? But the wise person knows that, and the wise person also knows that the job is everything is done in Prakriti, and having understood this, he doesn't get bound by the actions. So all the negative things that we are victim of when we do action, that does not happen to a wise person. That's what he's saying basically. Because we get attached to people, place, we get attached to our karma. All those things do not happen in the wise person because he knows. So now the question is, if we are not there yet, then how should I be acting? That's what he's giving advice, that this is how you should act. So this is the gist of the whole karma yoga in a different way. And actually, our Swami Chinmayanand ji, he thought that this shloka is like a backbone of third chapter. That much importance he gave to this. So, what is this Mai Sarvani Karmani? Meaning, he's saying that, first of all karmas, meaning what? All the niyata karma. Remember that word, obligatory duties. So each person has a responsibility to define what their duties are, and everybody's duty could be different. Swadharma jo humne kiya. So you know, all the background behind the niyata karma is already there, and we should follow that. कि जो बेकार के काम नहीं करने चाहिए, जो अपने obligatory duty है वही, you know. So how do you do those? How do you perform? Is you dedicate to the Lord. Now, what does that exactly mean? That's what that adhyatma chetasa word is. That, you know, your intellect has to be like focused on the self. And there is some bhajan, somebody was saying that you guys might know, naam japte chalo, kaam karte chalo, something like that, right? Iska samjho adhyatma chetasa ka hi form hai wo. So what does it mean by, you know, pure self or dedicating to the pure self? What does it mean to us? So this is the consciousness. We are dedicating it to that consciousness which is like everywhere. So when we say dedicating it to God, you cannot think like, oh, I have this murti and, you know, this is what God is and I'm going to dedicate to it. That is just a symbol. But we have to know that the God, which is the Adhyatma Chetsa that he's talking about, that particular concept of self is the self in all. It is in one ant also, and it is in Hindu, Muslim, Christian, does not matter who it is. Everywhere that consciousness is the same in everyone. And so not doing with ego, but with Adhyatma Chetasa. So now what is ego? Ego is more just like a reflection. It's not the real thing. So when we have I am doing it, that's not true, because that is not consciousness. So having that distinction between ego and this, we have to try to understand what it is. And you don't have to kind of dedicate to anything outside also, because that consciousness is within us, deep within us also, all pervading, but within us. So basically you are kind of dedicating it to your innermost core. You can even say that. And that sometimes, when we, even if we have not studied Shastras or anything, if there is something that we do that makes you happy and peaceful all the way inside your core of being, and then you feel so satisfied, and you have that glow on your face of the job done. Other people recognize or not recognize, that does not matter, but inside you feel, yes, I did the right thing and I did it very well. You already know it. That is your own inner self. So, and that makes you very kind of happy and content, and that is what is called, if you guys remember, prasad. You remember we had a whole discussion about what a true prasad is? That prasad is that little joy and happiness that bubbles in your heart. Not because somebody's praising you or nothing like that. It just happens because you have dedicated your actions to the higher self, and you have done it so well. So that's what this prasad is, or that fulfillment, you can call it. You can call it santosh or contentment. We had a big discussion about contentment. All that comes under that Adhyatma Chetasa. Okay? Because what I'm trying to say is that nobody else need to tell you from outside that whether you are doing it, dedicating to the higher self or not, because you yourself will know, because this will be the result, of it. Basically, what happens is if somebody does that job in that mode, not only you feel happy, but the people around you also, it affects them positively. Some of the saints and sages go as far as saying even the prakriti gets affected, and that's why the birds and the animals and the plants and everybody, it affects them also. They also feel happy and peaceful, and that's why they always say that around saints and sages you have this peace is there, and a lot of animals come and sit next to them. Like Ramana Maharishi, I heard that a lot of different animals used to come and sit next to him. And sometimes, you hear stories about ये क्या बोलते हैं, जंगली जानवर भी tame हो जाते हैं. Because of this, they have the Adhyatma Chetasa. That's why this happens, So those kind of stories are there, and people witness those kind of things around also. And there are a lot of great Mahatmas who have come on this earth, and they have shown how to act in the world like this with Adhyatma Chetasa. That's one thing. And the flip side of it is, suppose if you do things for ego purpose, okay, not for Adhyatma Chetasa, then what is ego made up of? Ego is made up of like selfishness, desire, anger, jealousy, pride, fear, all those negative things. If you start doing your action because of these things, then obviously the result will be no purity of mind, more bound and all that. That's why you want to flip it to the Adhyatma Chetasa. And if you do it for all these reasons, you're never going to find fulfillment and things like that. So this is almost like a very beautiful path that Bhagwan has revealed to us, path of action, and which is almost like a meditation in itself. that's where, when people get confused about karma yoga, how can it be you cannot reach higher self through the karma yoga? This, if you have adhyatma chetasa, or your mind is tuned to that higher while doing everything that you do, you are in meditation. It's a different kind of meditation, and that's why you see some of these people who are very dedicated to their work, and when they are working, they forget everything else. They are एकदम मगन हो जाते हैं, और खास करके ये आर्टिस्ट लोगों को हम देखते हैं ऐसे होते हुए. When they may be the greatest singers, and there may be 50,000 people in their audience, but when they are singing, they have adhyatma chetasa. They are like totally tuned. आंखें बंद करके वो लोग गाएंगे, and they are in meditation. That's a very good example that we can take. So, are there any examples of in our Puranas and history? There are so many. One example is Hanumanji. Everybody knows about him. मैं तो राम भक्त हूँ. Ram was in his heart so much, वो कुछ भी करेंगे. So that is called Adhyatma Chetasa. Somebody that is like a pinnacle of Adhyatma Chetasa. So, and then if you have that Adhyatma Chetasa, then God accepts everything from you. And when we go in chapter 9, there is a very beautiful verse, and whoever studies Bhagavad Gita probably knows, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, that anything you offer to me, I will get it. And in the same chapter, he will tell you, dedicate everything to me. You don't even, पहले तो बोला कि चलो कुछ देना चाहते हो यही दे दो मुझे, मैं ले लूँगा. मगर truth तो ये है कि तुम हर एक काम मुझको dedicate कर सकते हो. So no matter what you're doing, and the famous story is about that Shabari, that she was actually, वो झाड़ू लगा रही थी रोज. That became her puja. And then the other thing is that puja actually symbolizes this Adhyatma Chetasa. Because in puja, you're dedicating, like you offer everything to Bhagwan, right? And sometimes we cook food, we first offer Bhagwan and then we take it. That's another form of Adhyatma Chetasa. So these are more practical ways of, you can look at it, Adhyatma Chetasa. And you can see that there's a famous story about Mirabai that all of us know. That usko wish ka pyala diya. And she offered it to Bhagwan and she just took it. And they believe, and this only happened 500 years ago, not even thousands of years ago. They believe that the poison became Amrit. That's like the pinnacle of, again, highest form of Adhyatma Chetasa. So, and this kind of dedication, it's not confined to any geographical area or any religion or anything. It is a universal thing. Okay? So that's another thing that we want. Okay. I think Kamla ji has to mute herself. Kamla ji, can you please mute? Let's see if I can do it. Mute audio. Okay, I can do it from here. Okay. So one of the saints gave a fantastic example. एक एग्जाम्पल हम उन्होंने तानपुरा का लिया था, रिमेंबर, कि वो तानपुरा बजते रहना चाहिए बैकग्राउंड में, देन वो तानपुरा से वो म्यूजिक बराबर सही रहता है. सो वैसे ही इफ यू हैव आध्यात्म चेतसा, इफ यू हैव गॉड in your mind that I'm doing this for God, and keep that whole thing in your chetasa, in your mind, your job will be automatically done right and the connection will be there. But the other one of the saints gave such a beautiful example. He's saying आजकल सब लोग सेल फोन से इतना अटैच्ड हैं, उसके बिना लगता है कि कुछ मिसिंग है, राइट? सो कैसे सेल फोन जैसे आउट ऑफ रेंज चला जाता है, जहाँ टावर वगैरह नहीं हो, हम लोग कितना वो अपसेट हो जाते हैं कि वी वांट इट इन विद इन द रेंज सो वी कैन टॉक कनेक्ट टू एवरीबॉडी. सो ही इज सेइंग जस्ट कीप दैट kind of thing with Bhagwan. Don't get him out of your range. I thought that was such a beautiful way he put it. And then, so how do we achieve? Let's look at our practical ways, that how can we develop Adhyatma Chetasa? By doing satsang, or by doing your daily sadhana, your, japa, all the sadhana that you do increases the Adhyatma Chetasa. It reminds you again and again. And even coming to this class and all that, we are helping to be in that Adhyatma Chetasa. We are practicing more and more. contemplating, any of your sadhanas, your yoga, your pranayam, if you're doing it, connecting to God, all of that is going to be part of that. So that is one aspect of this verse, that, adhyatma chetasa. And now other words that there are three other adjustments we have to make in our mind besides having that adhyatma chetasa. Okay, I think is that Manju's thing is not muted?
Yes, that's me.
Yeah, Manju,
change the room.
Yeah, you're mute. You just need to stay on mute. Yeah, that's fine. Mute pe hoega na, so it'll better. Okay. So what are the three adjustments we have to make? And those are the three words I was talking about: Nirashi, Nirmamo, and Vigata Jwaraha. So let's look at each word, what it is. So he's saying that give up the asha. Now it sounds quite ridiculous, right? But let's see why he's saying it. And this is while doing your work. He's not saying ki asha zindagi mein chhod do. That's not what he's saying, okay? But it's like after you have planned, this is my job, this is what I have to do. While you're working, you should not think about the future, he's saying. While acting, don't think about the future. Now you know that there is a word very popular these days called mindfulness. So Krishna Bhagavan already in this verse 30 hammered that mindfulness, and you will see those three words, what it means, and then it'll open it up, what that is. And the other one is, what is that? Eckhart Tolle, right? He wrote a book, Power of Now. How many of you know about that book or read it? 2. It's a great book, a very popular book. And the whole book is dedicated to what this verse is saying.
Can you please give me the name of the book again?
Yeah, it's called Power of Now. And I will send it through the WhatsApp. And he's a German person. I think he was in academics.
I think he lives in Canada now.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he's a world famous. A lot of people. He does a lot of seminars and all that. And he had very interesting life. He had this a kind of revelation, in his 30s or something. And then he wrote this book. And this book is in a very simple language. But it is exactly in line with Bhagavad Gita. And this verse is like, you will see that this is what he's talking about throughout the book, but in his own way. Because he said the life happens now. And then we're going to analyze it how. So basically what happens is, think about it that most of the time, what are we doing when we are thinking? हम ऐसे ही बैठे हैं सोच रहे हैं, हाँ? हम लोग अभी जो हो रहा है उसके बारे में नहीं सोचते हैं. क्या हुआ था, क्या होगा, सारा टाइम वो हम अपना उसी में वेस्ट करते हैं. So he's saying that some people live in future, some people live in past, and some are constantly shuttling between past and future. But it's like this is how we think. Oh, tomorrow it will be better. Tomorrow I will like do this, do that, and we postpone some kind of happiness for future, But what Krishna Bhagavan is saying indirectly is saying that when you have to do some job, and if you start thinking about past and future, or even while sitting, we waste so much energy. Instead of adhyatma chetasa or trying to meditate on Bhagavan, we start thinking of past and future. You are literally disrespecting your present right now, where the life is actually happening. That's what is it. So that's what it means by asha. So he's saying that nirashi bano, because while working, don't think of the future. And there is one very, I usually do this with my 10th graders, in Chinmaya Mission. There is a saying, and you will see how you like it. Past is a history, future is a mystery, and present is a gift. And why it's called present? Because it's a present from God. You heard of this? I thought it was you have. I think Premji is nodding her head. She's heard of this. It's such a beautiful saying because Bhagwan ne tumko gift diya hai ki ye present is a gift. And baki are dead moments. So past and future to abhi aaya bhi nahi hai. So what Bhagwan is saying, just drop this thinking of the future while working. And if you don't do that, you are literally insulting me. Okay? Because imagine, आप practical भी देखो, कोई आपके घर में आया है, you know. So your job is to talk to them, you know, engage with them, give them some food, whatever, you know. And then over there, you sit there and thinking about past and future. The guy will say, this guy doesn't care about me, you know. Or even when you're doing puja, if you start thinking of something else, it's like you are insulting Bhagwan who is in front of you. You are not doing it right now, what you're supposed to, and you're thinking of past and future, you know. So that's what it is. And then there is another very interesting drishtant that I remember that we do it with our children. That there's a story where this guy says, you know, I want to know what is the best job to do, who is the right person, and what is the right time. That's the question wo guru ko puchta hai. Because I want to do my, you know, right karma. So like, who is the right person, what's the right time, and what's the right job? So the guru says, the person who is in front of you right now is the right person. Now is the time, and the task you have in front of you is the right work for you right now. That's what is like the living in the present, the whole thing he's talking about. Because you experience God right at the present. In fact, I think वो Eckhart Tolle की book में है, Power of Now. He's saying infinity lies in the moment which is in front of you. You know, that is called infinity. You know, not like past and future and all. So he has his own way of, in a philosophy, how he explained that. So, and then what happens, what is the past now? So the word mamatva, he's used it for past. Mamatva means me and mine. ये me and mine की feeling जो आती है ना, वो past के कारण आती है. भाई मैंने ये किया था, मैंने ये achieve किया, मेरे पास ये degrees हैं, मैंने ये काम किए. You know, all those, the big guttery of like egoism that we carry, that comes from our past. You know, so that's what he's telling him, that drop this mamatvam, you know, nirmama. He's telling him to become without the mama. Mama is like past. So like one of the swamis was saying, लोग होते ना वो हमारे जमाने में ऐसा होता था. You know, इससे कोई किसी को interest नहीं है. You try to tell this to your children, you know, हमारे जमाने में ऐसा होता था. Mom, you are not in that. We are here in America now, you know. So it's those kind of things that people engage, and it's after a while it don't mean much, you know. So he's not saying that don't learn from the past, you know, don't misunderstand, or don't have a planning for the future. All he's saying is you can learn from your past, you can plan for the future, but don't live in the past and future. That's what it is. When we start living in the past and future, that's where the problem comes. That's how I thought that was a good way. So a true karma yogi is the one who lives in the present. And what are the dangers of living in the past? You are always unhappy. You know why? Because या तो तुम ऐसा सोचोगे, वो जमाना कितना अच्छा था, मैं ये करती थी, तो अभी दुखी हो जाओगे. अभी तो ऐसा है नहीं, you know. और अगर पास्ट का दुख याद करोगे तो वैसे ही दुखी होएगे. So he's saying that दोनों तरफ से तुम पिटे. If you live in the past, you're going to be unhappy no matter what. So that's why you need to drop. And future, if you live, then what's the danger? Fear and anxiety. You know, we don't know what's going to happen in future. So then, like Swamiji says, you know, that Chinmayanand, that you start imagining things. Make this, you know, wool gathering, ki ye ho jayega, and that before you know, like everybody's doomed. Abhi ye COVID ka bhi dekho, there are some people who say, oh my God, everything is doomed, ye wo. You don't need to do that, because future is, we don't know. And also we have learned that whatever comes, it will pass. It just is like a cycle. So that's what we need to remember. So, and another point is that past mein sanskar hote hain. Like, you know, like impression from the past. And so you can, like I said, you can learn from those, and you know, a certain bad impression, you can let go. You can process all those things that we have learned, the technique, but just don't live in that. That's all he's saying. And then the last part is the vigata jwaraha. What does it mean? He took care of the past. He said, don't do that. Future also. Now, present में क्या तुमको adjustment करना होगा. So he's saying too much excitement in the present. And what does that mean? Some people like, hey, मुझे भी ये करना है, hey, मुझे भी ये करना है, ऐसे करके, we also do that sometimes. No, some guest is gonna come, I gotta go do this, I gotta go, calling that a jwara. Heat पैदा हो जाएगी तुम्हारे mind और body में. वो भी मत करो. Keep calm. That's what he's saying. And then when the more adhyatma chetasa we have, the less of these three things we are gonna. So it's kind of connected. And then there are two verses, part of the verses that I don't know if you remember, and those are, I'm sure Gita ji knows of these. Samatvam yoga uchyate. That you do all your actions with samatvam. Yoga means there's another name when we are balance of mind. So this not living while working, not living in the past and future, and not having this jwara is samatvam. And that's what we should be. And then also there's one more called yoga karma sukaushalam, means have a dexterity in action. So, your action should be best. And then, this is a known fact that when we are working, the only way the work is going to be very, very good is if we put our entire attention to it. The moment we start thinking of the past or future, we are dissipating our energy. Because कभी-कभी होता है ना कि हम लोग कुछ किताब लिखने पढ़ने को बैठते हैं, all of a sudden our mind is gone somewhere and nothing is going into our head because our mind is in the past or future. That happens to us also. So he's just reminding you that you waste your energy, and that's what you need to do, is come back to this. And then I was thinking about it that, like अपने Hindi language में ये बहुत अपनी, our mothers used to say that to us a lot when we were there, ध्यान से काम करो, right? Dhyan is actually meditation. That's the word for and when you say ध्यान से काम करो means put your mind to it. And then, we, when the children in Chinmaya Mission graduate in 12th grade in Houston, we used to give them a plaque which said, put your mind where your hands are working. That's a very powerful saying of Gurudev, that whatever you are doing, put your mind at it. And then that mindfulness that I was talking about, that all these in current, world right now, they use this word a lot. That's exactly where it's coming from. That whatever you're doing, and that frees the mind of all the negativity and that purifies the mind. That's what it is. So these are the 3 adjustments to make. And then another reason we already learned that not to worry about the future is take whatever, future means what result के लिए लोग worry करते हैं, right? So भगवान ने पहले बोल दिया that, don't have the fixed idea of any fixed result. Whatever comes to you after doing your job, if you thought you've done your job very well, then look at it as a prasad from Bhagwan. Whatever result comes, you take it as a prasad. And sometimes the one last point I wanted to make about this here is that there is an internal journey and external journey, right? External journey, we don't have a control over. We can be doing a lot of different things and the result may not come, good. Who knows? We tried big project and everything failed. But if you did it with Adhyatma Chetasa and you did it with those 3 adjustments, that purity that you get in your mind, that is your internal winning that happens. And you have progressed in your spiritual world. So there is a very beautiful example they gave about the fight between Ravan and Jatayu that all of us know. That externally Jatayu lost and he lost his life. But we all know 100% that spiritually Jatayu attained moksha because he died in arms of Bhagwan, Ramchandra ji, because, he got that. So here the example is that, okay, outside world, it may look like somebody might say, oh, you failed and all. But for us, it doesn't matter because that's what we are learning, that internal journey is a more important one. So there are certain times it can happen that way, but we have to focus on the internal journey. Okay, and then the last point is, this message is not for Arjun only because he did tell him, go fight the war. And I already told you that fight, it doesn't mean that all of us he's telling to fight, but he's telling us to do our niyata karma. That's the whole thing about this verse. So Here, anybody has any comment, question, or add a point to this whole thing? Yeah, Vandana.
Could you repeat the three appropriations that the Sanskrit Hindi appropriations?
Okay.
That you just
Yes,
mentioned?
sure.
Just
So,
the words.
do you have the Bhagavad Gita with you?
No, I don't.
Okay, so next time bring one. If you do you have any at your home, Bhagavad
Yeah.
Gita?
Yeah.
Because that will become very easy. So keep the Bhagavad Gita with you. So it's Nirashi, Nirmama, and Vigata Jwaraha. You know. And you just write down the verse number 30 of chapter 3, and then after the class you can go and check it, those three words.
Okay.
Nirashi, Nirmama, and Vigata Jwara. Yeah. And I already told you, we went in detail. Nirashi is to not worry about the future. Nirmamo, don't worry about the past. And Vigata Jwara, not too much excitement in the present. Calm mind in the present. Any
Thank
other
you.
person has any point? No? I don't see anybody raising hand or speaking. Okay, we can read. Swamiji has a certain different angles also. So I bring, other points from other Swamis, and together we have a nice understanding then. Okay, who's the volunteer today? Miraji, go for it.
Renouncing all actions in me with the mind centered on the self, free from hope and egoism, ownership, free from mental fever, you do fight. It has been clearly declared that the divine opinion of the Lord is that Arjuna should fight. The Pandav prince is not, at present, fit for the higher contemplative life of pure meditation. Action has a tendency to create new impressions, which again procreate impulses to act more vigorously. In order to avoid creation of new vasanas, even while acting for the purpose of vasana exhaustion, Krishna had already advised the method of acting without the spirit of ego or egocentric desires. The same theory is explained here while expounding a technique by which this consummation can actually be brought about.
So here Swamiji is bringing that point that we have all these vasanas or impressions from the past. So one of the things we have to do is dissolve those impressions and not create anything new. So this technique also does purity, and that, I explained you from a different angle, and here he's adding this another angle to it, that is also a reason that we should be doing that. And I'll give you a very simple example, that like when we were discussing about all this, since we are all family people, right? We have husbands and children and other family members and all that. So in our extended family, sometime राग द्वेष होता है ना, कि वो बचपन में उसने ये किया था and all that, and कोई भी पार्टी वार्टी होती है तो हमेशा ऐसी चीजें बाहर निकलती है ये वो. So as a spiritual person, how you should be handling that, because this is your own internal journey. So one of them said that, whenever we meet somebody, meet them as though you're meeting them for the first time. Don't bring all this baggage from before. Oh, usne wo kiya tha, usne. No. And you will see your relationship becomes so great, when you come from that angle, because they also feel it then, and they will drop it too, and you start. So I think just living in present and doing, it actually has a tremendous benefit in families and all that, because once we started on this journey, we all experimented, and everybody came back and reported that their family, relationship become a lot better. Because that is the biggest problem that we householders face, about polluting our mind, So, anyway.
Renounce all actions in me. We have already noticed that by the first person pronoun, Krishna means the Supreme Self, the Divine, the Eternal. Renouncing all activities unto Him with a mind soaked with devoted remembrances of the Self, Adhyatma
Chetasa.
Chetasa. The Lord advises Arjun to act on. Renunciation of action does not mean an insipid life of inactivity. Actions performed through attachment and desires are renounced the moment we take away from action the egocentric attitude and the stink of selfishness.
So here he's just reminding everybody that when you say renounce the action in me, यानी कि काम ही करना छोड़ दो, because some people when they take the literal meaning, he's saying that, and one of the best example of renouncing action into somebody is जो लोग ambassador होते हैं ना, जब दूसरी country में जाते हैं, say they are representing America and they go as an ambassador, whatever they do, they are renouncing it to America, meaning they are not doing on a personal level anything. All the actions are from the country point of view. So that's what it means, dedicating to something higher, and you can see that they can achieve big things because of that, because they have the power of entire country behind them. The same way, if you have Adhyatma Chetasa, you have a literally power of universe behind you. Like what I'm trying to say is that you don't feel the burden of like, oh, I have to do this, and you just relax then. That's what, again, another thing that happens.
A serpent is dangerous only as long as its fangs are not removed. The moment these are taken out, even the most poisonous reptile becomes a tame creature incapable of harming anyone. Similarly, action gives rise to bondage only when it is performed with a heart laden with selfish desires. Actions performed without desires are not actions at all, inasmuch as they are incapable of producing any painful reactions which create further bondage.
See how beautiful example he gave, that of that snake, that poison nikal do, to it is not the same way that he's saying that all the selfish stink you take out from your karma, then you have no negativities in the karma. That's what he's saying.
Here, the renunciation of action only means the giving up of the wrong desire-ridden motives behind the actions. The purification of the motives is possible only when the mind is made to sing constantly the divine songs, praising the glories of the self. In the song of truth, the heart begins to throb with the highest divine impulses. Actions performed in the outer world by such an individual are no more ordinary actions, but they become expressions of the supreme will acting through that individual. When the limited ego is replaced by the constant feeling of the Lord as I am the supreme, such an individual becomes the most efficient instrument for the expression of the will.
Of the divine will, right?
Of the divine will.
Yeah, so that's the most important thing, that expression of the divine will. And this Krishna ki jo basuri hai na, you must have heard of this symbolism, that basically उसमें 9 holes होते हैं. I'm not into music, so I don't know. जो Indian बांसुरी होती है ना, उसमें 9, and that represents like our body. So बोलते हैं अगर वो बांसुरी में ना, बांसुरी hollow होनी चाहिए बोलते हैं music. Or with that we know. Even we don't have to be a musician to know that. अगर उसमें कूड़ा कचरा भरा होगा बांसुरी में, तो उसका सुर निकलेगा कोई अच्छा? No. So if we are supposed to be the bansuri, then who is playing the flute? Krishna is playing the flute. So when the bansuri is totally empty, means you don't have all this selfish and dirt in your mind, whatever comes out is his music. That's the symbolism. So you want, जब कृष्ण भगवान बांसुरी बजाते हैं, सब सुध बुध खो देते हैं, because so मीठा. So बोलते हैं कि तुम अपनी बजाओगे बांसुरी, बहुत बेसुरी होगी. So you become the instrument. That's what he's talking about over here. Of God, huh?
Not only is it sufficient that we renounce thus all wrong actions, but we have also to make a few adjustments in our inner instruments in order to enable an unobstructed flow of the Creator's will through us. These are indicated here by the two terms, free from hope and free from ego.
Yeah, so we discussed that, yeah.
The superficial study of the stanza is sure to confuse the student and drive him to the dangerous conclusion that Hinduism preaches not a dynamic, conscious life, but an insentient existence through life in a spirit of cultivated hopelessness. But a closer study of the import of these two terms will make us understand clearly that in this stanza, Krishna is hinting at a great psychological truth of life.
So we already discussed that if you just take those words, just plain words, say, oh, hope भी नहीं रखो, past में क्या हुआ ये भी भूल जाओ, तो फिर हम जिएंगे कैसे कोई सोचेगा. But that's not what he's talking about.
Free from hope. Hope is the expectation of a happening